Feel free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free. Feels like the world is picking on ya. Feels like it's picking on me. But trying to please everybody, that ain't no way to be. So many people try to get you to fit their mold. I think it's time for a change. This is what I say. Feel free to be whoever you want to be. Feel free to dance, feel free to sing, just feel free.
What's going on, everybody? Hey, it is episode 40. 40 of these things we've all done together. Episode 40 of the Two Tone Talk podcast is here. The best by God pod around. I couldn't think of anything clever to say. Welcome to the Two Tone Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brad Steele, and on episode 40 today, we're all trying to find a glimmer of hope. We're all trying to find that glimmer of hope that somehow, some way, the Titans can do this Sunday what, quite frankly, we've seen them do quite a few times. When their backs are against the wall, when the chips are down and everybody's counted them out, they somehow put together a gritty performance and get a win. Can they do it against Cincinnati? Can they do it against the Bengals? Let's talk about the Bengals. Our old friends, the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that at one point I had nothing against. You know, of course, as Titans fans, we all hate the Colts. We all hate the Jaguars. We all hate the Texans, our division rivals. We all hate the Ravens, you know. We all hate the Cowboys. That has nothing to do with the Titans. Just the Cowboys are easy to hate. But really, I never had a problem with the Bengals. Okay? I never really had anything against them. Until about a year and a half ago, when the Titans played the Bengals in a playoff game that I will never forget for the rest of my life. It was the worst loss I have ever experienced as a fan. Any sports team that I've ever rooted for, it was the worst loss that I've ever experienced. Ryan Tannehill, 3 interceptions. And yet, at the end of that game, the Titans had a chance to go down there, kick a field goal, and host the AFC Championship game the next week. You all know the story. 3rd interception. Bengals get the ball back. Game-winning field goal. Bengals go to the Super Bowl and lose, but they went to the Super Bowl. Kind of looking back, feels like if ever there was a time the Titans could have done it, that was it. And they failed. And so ever since then, the mere sight of that orange and black monstrosity of a helmet, anytime that slick Joe Burrow walks into Nissan Stadium, I just cringe. I cringe. I want to get in the floor and cry because it brings back bad memories. And here we are, 2 days away from the orange and black attack coming into Nissan Stadium again to try to break the hearts of the Titans. But I don't know if they can break the hearts of the Titans fans any more than the Titans already have. Because 3 games so far this season, and 2 of them have been 2 of the worst performances you'll ever see. The Saints' performance was horrible, and the Browns' performance from Sunday even worse. And so it's got us Titans fans asking, what can the Titans possibly do to win this game? Looks like Peter Skoronski gonna be out again, still recovering from the appendectomy. So we're back with Dillard and Radens on the left side of the line going up against Trey Hendrickson, who very well could do the same thing to the Titans offense that Myles Garrett did this past Sunday, and that is wreck the whole thing. Somebody, in order for the Tennessee Titans to win this game, somebody's going to have to step up that you're not expecting. Okay? One of these guys, like Andre Dillard or Christian Fulton, one of these guys that you're not expecting to do anything is going to have to do something beyond what they can imagine. Because, I mean, somebody's going to have to cover Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. We know all about their weapons. And the Bengals got off to an 0-2 start. They looked bad the first couple of weeks. Burrow hurt, calf injury. And the Bengals beat the Rams on Monday night. Now they've got a win under their belt, and it just feels like the Bengals are getting ready to do what the Bengals always do, and that is go on like a 12-game win streak, and the Titans are just the next victim. It just, you can feel, it feels like the Bengals are coming into this game building momentum. It feels like the Titans are coming in with absolutely negative 1,000 momentum. So, I don't know. I feel like Burrow's going to be getting rid of the ball fast because he's still dealing with a calf injury. So I feel like they're going to want to play it safe. I feel like you're going to see a lot of quick game. Maybe, trying to have Jamar Chase get some yak, similar to what we used to see A.J. Brown get in Nashville. I think Burrow's going to be getting rid of the ball quick, and that might negate the Titans' best area of their team, which is their defensive front. A defensive front that had a hard time getting to Deshaun Watson the other day. Going into that Browns game, everybody thought this Titans front four is going to feast on this offensive line and Deshaun Watson, and they did not. They did not. And it's not because Deshaun Watson was getting rid of the ball so fast. It's because the Titans either weren't getting to him, or when they did get to him, they missed him. So now I feel like Burrow on Sunday is probably going to be trying to get rid of the ball quick. And Titans defense, secondary is going to have to step up. Fulton, Molden, McCreary, Byard, Hooker, all of them. It's gut check time for that group. It is gut check time. An awful showing against the Browns. Made Watson look like he was worth the money they paid him for the first time in his entire Browns career. And now you got one of the best in the game, Joe Burrow, coming to town. I know he didn't get off to a hot start this year, but that's still Joe Burrow. That's still one of the best, in the game. So you got your hands full with this guy. It's gut check time for that secondary. Offensive line, it's well past gut check time for you. Okay, we have passed gut check time. We are in the bottom of the 9th inning for you guys already in week 4. I mean, if I am that offensive line, this week, I'm having a private meeting in that locker room. I'm asking the coaches to step out. I'm asking the other players to step out. If I'm that offensive line, it's time to get together and have a little meeting. A little meeting. and talk about how absolutely humiliating it was to get owned by the Saints and then owned by the Browns. I mean, they got absolutely made fools of. And I'm going to get to the quarterback in a second, but that offensive line has been made fools of 2 out of 3 times. And certain guys on that offensive line have been made fools of more than the other. Left tackle Andre Dillard has already given up 6 sacks in 3 games. He's already halfway to matching Dennis Daly's sack total last year, which was 12. He's already halfway there. It's well past gut check time for him. It's well past gut check time for this entire offensive line. And let's be real, it's well past gut check time for the entire offense. Let's just expand this thing a little past the offensive line. The entire offense. It's time to either get with it, as they say down south, either pee or get off the toilet. Either pee or get off the toilet. If you suck, let us know now. But if you got something you can offer, go ahead. And that goes for everybody. That goes for the offensive line. That goes for Tim Kelly. That goes for Traylon Burks, who had some drops the other day. That goes for Chigo Okonkwo, who's gone missing in action for the most part. And look, we got to talk about this. Everybody talking about how bad the offensive line is, how bad the quarterback is, and whatnot. We got to talk about how bad this tight ends group is. This tight ends group that the Titans have, how you take a step back after getting rid of Jeff Swaim, I don't know. But this tight ends group is not good. Blocking, catching, none of it. It's gut check time for them. And the quarterback. Listen, bro. I talked about it on Monday on the podcast right here on episode 39. The day after that Browns defeat. Hey, the sand is falling through the hourglass, my friend. And I like Ryan Tannehill. I appreciate how gutsy, how tough he's been in his Titans tenure. And he's probably had more good times than bad in his years with the Titans. But if the first 3 weeks of this season are any indication, the sand is falling through the hourglass on Ryan Tannehill. And I understand offensive line hadn't helped him. There have been times when his receivers hadn't helped him. But, bro, we are in an NFL where you got to be able to move around. You got to be able to move around. You got to be able to extend plays. You got to be able to escape the pocket, keep things going with your legs. And this guy doesn't look like he has it in him anymore. God bless him. Great guy. Great guy, and I appreciate all he's done for the organization. But if this thing don't turn around quick, if it don't turn around like quick, we got 2 young guys sitting over there that we may as well just see what we got with one of them. Because, I mean, a quarterback who can't really move a lot with an offensive line like this, that is a match made in hell. You throw in receivers who aren't consistent enough to get separation and catch the ball when it's thrown their way, match doubly made in hell. So somebody's got to figure something out. Offensive coordinator Tim Kelly said he lost sleep after that Browns loss. Well, you better be wide awake on Sunday. You better be wide awake. Now, Vrabel said to keep in mind that the Saints and the Browns probably the 2 best defenses the Titans will play this year. And you know what? That's fair. That's fair. They probably are. Especially the Browns. But I ain't ever going to sit here and make excuses for the fact that an NFL team in 2023 couldn't generate 100 yards. I ain't never going to make excuses for that. I don't care if you're playing the 85 Bears. I don't care if you're playing the 2000 Ravens. I don't care if you're playing the 2013 Seahawks, the Legion of Boom. I don't care what defense you're playing. You should be able to get 100 yards. I mean, come on now. And let's not act like the Bengals defense is bad. What I'm saying is, it is gut check time. You remember last year Vrabel talked about crossroads? We're already at crossroads week 4. And Vrabel said it. He said it right after the Browns game. He said, we're going to find out what kind of team we got. It's time to find out what kind of team we got. It's time to find out. Time to find out. Because after a performance like what they put on against Cleveland, I would love to see a team come out ready to rip somebody's head off and prove that that's not who they are. That's what I'd love to see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see at first possession, 3 and out. If we start getting into that rut again, first possession, 3 and out, second possession, sack, 2-yard gain, incomplete pass, third possession, sack, fumble, fourth possession, 3 and out, fifth possession, sack to end the half. If we start getting into that thing again, I'm switching it to the Red Zone channel, and I ain't going to regret it a bit. I can't watch it no more. I can't watch it no more. Week after week after week and nothing ever changes. I can't watch it no more. On that note, it's time for the Two-Tone Talk 32-1 power rankings. Briefly talking about each team, and keep in mind, this is the way I see it. Not just based on who won and who lost this week, not just based on what the records are, based on how I see it. Okay? Let's go. The bottom 3. Let's start with the bottom 3. We have a new bottom 3 this week. At number 32, it is the Chicago Bears. The whole organization is in turmoil. Justin Fields doesn't look to be nearly what they hoped he would be. The offensive line looks bad. Everything looking bad for the Bears. Okay? I mean, just disaster all around. Number 31, the Denver Broncos. They just catapult down this list because anytime a team puts up 70 points and over 700 yards of offense, yeah, you deserve to be in the bottom 3. You deserve to be in the bottom 3 at that point. You got beat by 50 points. You let a team put up mad numbers on you. That's embarrassing. And then number 30, the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers actually move up a spot in the power rankings this week simply because they were a little bit competitive. That's all it takes. Just a little bit competitive, and you move up a spot. It's still better than the Broncos and Bears. That's the bottom 3, Panthers, Broncos, Bears. Let's get into the 20s here. At number 29, give me the Giants. Giants stay exactly where they were. They played last Thursday against 49ers. Seems like forever ago. They just look horrible. The Giants look absolutely horrible. And they probably should be 0-3, but somehow they came back and beat the Cardinals last week. Either way, they're bad. 29. Number 28, the Minnesota Vikings. This looks like a team that's all out of whack. Dropped passes galore. I think they're already 0-3. If you took Justin Jefferson off this team, they'd probably be in the bottom 3 every week. The Vikings they look like a lifeless team right now. Completely lifeless. Number 27, the Houston Texans. I had the Texans dead last on this list for the last 2 weeks, but they're going to jump up to 27 this week because the Texans got a huge win over the Jags that nobody thought that they were possibly going to get. And, I hate to say it, but C.J. Stroud looks like the real deal. He had 4 out of 5 offensive linemen out the other day, and he still managed to ball out. Not the best receiving core in the world. If they build around him in the coming years, it's bad news for Titans fans, but as well as Jags and Colts. The guy looks good. This is who I wanted in the draft, and the Texans stole him. Kudos to them. They stuck it to the Titans with that. And, I'm worried about C.J. Stroud in the years to come. Number 26, the Arizona Cardinals. They were in the bottom 3 last week, but they jump up this list because they beat the Dallas Cowboys. This is just one of those weird things that happened. The Cardinals beat the Cowboys with Listen, Dobbs ain't looking bad for the Cardinals. He was a Titan. We let him go, and now he's actually, and it kind of feels like, in some weird way, I don't know if it'll last, but it kind of feels like the Cardinals are rallying around Josh Dobbs. Like, almost feels like a meme, kind of, but they're kind of rallying around Dobbs a little bit. Number 25, the Jets. I feel like the Jets are going to continue to go down this list. I can't even believe Zach Wilson's no good. The Jets brought in Trevor Siemian this week, and it wouldn't shock me at all to see Trevor Siemian starting for the Jets here soon because they have such a great roster. And I know people have talked about the possibility of Tannehill getting traded to the Jets if things continue to go south for Tennessee. I mean, I think it really would be like, because he needs, I still think Ryan Tannehill can be productive, but he needs the perfect situation. He needs a great offensive line. He needs great weapons. Well, the Jets have weapons all over the place. Their offensive line is surely better than the Titans. I think I can go get 5 people from I'm just kidding. There's some offensive linemen. I don't want to punish the entire offensive line for how bad a couple of them are, but maybe that would be a good fit for Tannehill if things keep going south. Number 24, the Raiders. Raiders have had a rough couple of weeks. They won week 1, and it was like, oh, is this team better than we thought they were going to be? They followed it up with getting trounced by Buffalo, and then they got beat by Pittsburgh Sunday night. So, yeah, I think the Raiders are just at best a middle-of-the-pack team. Number 23, the New England Patriots with their quarterback, Mac Jones, who's cup-checking people and then crying wolf. The Patriots, they beat the Jets barely. I don't think the Patriots look good at all, and I still think they're going to lose a heck of a lot more than they win. Number 29, the good guys, the Tennessee Titans. I had them at 15 last week, and it felt like that was way optimistic, and it felt kind of Titans homer of me to have them that high. But you know what? I thought they just beat the Chargers. The offense looking a little better. We're turning this thing around, and then they put on that performance against Cleveland that they did, and they just start going down the list back to 22. I don't have to tell you. I've already talked about the Titans enough. They're going to have to be so much better if they want to move up this list at all. Number 21, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They fall a couple spots. I mean, the Bucs were playing the Eagles, who just have so much more talent than the Bucs. The Bucs hung in there. They're gritty. They're tough, and maybe the Bucs will probably have a little better record than I thought. I don't think the Bucs are a playoff team at all, but I think the Bucs are scrappy. I don't know how far that'll take them. I don't know how far scrappy can take you when it's just kind of like you're the little engine that could and you're just trying to prove people wrong. I think that can win you a couple games like it already has, but I don't know if it'll be able to last for the Bucs. I've got them at 21. Now we'll go over here into the teens. At number 20, I got the Rams. I mean, Rams lost to the Bengals. The Rams, they've got weapons on both sides of the ball, but ultimately, you look at their roster, especially with Cooper Kupp being out there, a shell of what they were. Number 19, the Colts. The Colts hold sole possession of first place in the AFC South right now, and they beat a very good Ravens team the other day with Gardner Minshew in weather, kind of rainy, windy conditions. But the Colts managed to get an ugly win without Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, as bad as the AFC South looks right now, I mean, crap, if you're the Colts or the Texans, maybe this season doesn't have to just be a rebuild. Maybe, my gosh, why not? The Titans and the Jaguars sure ain't stopping you. But the Colts, number 19 on the list, they move up a few spots. Good win over the Ravens. We'll see if it was kind of fluky or what happens when Richardson returns. Number 18, the Packers. This is unique because they've played 2 games since the last time I did this list. They beat the Saints, and then they looked terrible, I thought, against the Lions. I mean, I think that their offense was similar to the Titans in that game. I mean, they just looked like they were treading water, trying to get anything going. I just don't know. They don't. I think they kind of suffer from the same thing the Titans do. They have receivers who can't really get separation. They, Jordan Love is more mobile than the Titans quarterback is, but they offensively, they look like they're just stalling completely every time they go out there. So I got the Packers at 18, especially after last night. Number 17, the Steelers. The Steelers probably, they're probably a little better than I thought, but you guys already know I'm a big believer in Mike Tomlin. I think he's always going to have them coached up and ready to go. And, I think they always seem to outperform how bad their roster looks on paper. They somehow perform better than you think they're going to. They're 2-1. They get a big win in prime time the other night, and the Steelers, they're right there in the mix. They're 17. Number 16, the Falcons. The Falcons looked really bad on Sunday against the Lions. Right? I mean, they looked really bad, and I think that showed, number one, they were playing the Lions, who are really good. I'm going to talk about them in a little bit, but Desmond Ridder, I don't think is the answer for Atlanta. I think obviously they have a powerful running attack with Algier and Robinson. It's going to win them some games. It's going to have them in the mix there in that NFC South. But this was a tough one for them on Sunday. Their offense looked really, really bad. And, but they were playing one of the best teams. So we'll see. The Falcons' schedule kind of lets up from here. So we'll see. Number 15, the Commanders. The Commanders came back down to reality against Buffalo. Just had a tough time getting anything going. But again, they were playing one of the best teams. I think teams like the Commanders and the Falcons, they're good enough to beat all the teams below them on this list. I don't think they're good enough to beat the teams really ahead of them for the most part on this list, especially the top 10, which we're about to get to. But the Commanders, I still think they're gonna win more than they're gonna lose this year. Number 14, the Browns. The Browns I had at 25 last week. So they're shooting up this list. And I think the Browns are better than I thought. And I'm not just saying that because they beat the Titans. I'm saying it because you look at their defense. I think they do right now have the best defense in the league. I think they have the best defense, and not just because of what they did against the Titans, but you look at what they did against the Bengals in week 1. And even though they lost to the Steelers in week 2, they had a terrible offensive performance that night. Their defense is great. Offensively, I don't know offensively if they're going to continue to look as good as they did against the Titans. But I think that if they do, the Browns could be a sneaky team in this AFC. I think that, if Watson starts, he was starting to look kind of like his Houston Texans self the other day. And so, against the Titans, he looked like his Clemson Tiger self. So we'll see. I mean, they've got Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. Those are not weapons to kind of scoff at. Those are good weapons, not to mention Njoku and things like that. So the Browns are better than I thought they were, and it's going to come down to if Watson can continue to play at the level he did the other day. 13, the Jags. I had the Jags at, I think, 9 last week. I dropped them down. I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville. But you look at the other 3 teams in this division on paper, the Jags should be running away with this thing, but they look bad. The Jags look bad. You've got drop passes. You've got poor defensive play. You've got, Lawrence is, I don't think Lawrence is the big issue there, but it's amazing. You look at their offensive talent and you wonder, how is this team, they lose to Kansas City week 2. Okay, that's Kansas City. But to get made fools of by the Houston Texans, who had so many injuries and not the best roster anyway, something's going on. I don't know what's going on in Jacksonville, but it ain't good. So they're 13, and if things don't turn around quick, they're just shooting on down this list. Number 12, the Saints. I hesitated to put them this high because they're coming off of a loss. But I am putting them this high just because their defense is good, and Derek Carr, I think the injury to him is not going to be as bad as they thought. I was actually, kind of wanted to see what they were going to look like with Jameis. I'm going to be honest with you, because Derek Carr hasn't been great. But Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, I still think they can be sneaky. I still think right now they're the best team in the NFC South. And they lost a tough one, gave up a lead to Green Bay the other day. So we'll see. But maybe it's a little high, but I didn't want to move the Browns any further up because I was already taking them from 25 to 14. So, and then the Jags lost. And so, it is what it is. The Saints at 12, the Chargers at 11. I think this is a little, maybe a little too high for them. But again, the Saints lost, the Jags lost. I didn't want to shoot the Browns all the way up the list. And the Commanders lost, the Falcons lost. It was one of those weird things. So the Chargers move up the list. I don't know how the Titans beat them in week 2. I still think the Chargers are an under-the-radar team. They've got Justin Herbert. They've got a ton of weapons, and they can still make some noise in the AFC. So now we get to the top 10. Let's get through these real quick. Number 10, I am going to go with the Seahawks. The Seahawks, listen, Pete Carroll has proven the dude's just a great coach. A great coach. He's got Geno Smith looking like Geno from last year. I was hesitant after week 1, but you know what? The Seahawks looking better and better. And hey, somehow, some way, a lot of people don't know a lot about what they got going on in Seattle because they don't have the flashiest roster and they don't make it look as pretty as some other teams do. But Seahawks, playoff team last year. Geno ain't right back. Number 9, the Bengals. Like I said, the team the Titans play this week just kind of feels like they're getting things going. kind of feels like they're about to go on that 12-game win streak after the tough start. And I hope I'm wrong, but I worry after their performance against the Titans this weekend, I worry people are going to be talking about the Bengals like they're the Bengals again. Number 8, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens lost this week. It was a tough one against Indianapolis, but, they I still think the Ravens are going to be fine. I think the conditions played a role. I think a bad missed pass interference call kind of played a role there in the Ravens losing that game. So, I'm not totally out on the Ravens yet. Number 7, the Cowboys. They lost to the Cardinals. I don't know what to make of the Cowboys. I already told you guys that the Cowboys are just like, they look great, then they look terrible, then they look great, then they look terrible. They're the Cowboys. That's kind of what they do. It's Super Bowl bound one week, number 1 pick in the draft the next. I don't know. But the Cowboys are at 7. Number 6, the Chiefs. Taylor Swift, everybody. She's dating Travis Kelce. Did you know that? The Chiefs are at 6. And, they're the Chiefs. The team to beat. Mahomes, Kelce, Taylor Swift. Put them at 6. They still need a signature win, I feel like. Number 5, the Bills. The Bills have looked really good since they lost week 1 to the Jets. They've really rebounded nice, and Josh Allen and company have got that show rolling again, and they've got a run game, it looks like. So, the very dangerous Bills. The Bills are at 5. The Lions at 4. The Lions look great. I know they had a slip up in week 2 against Seattle, but the Lions, I watched them last night against Green Bay. I love what they're doing in Detroit. And Jared Goff, they've got a system in place that makes him able to operate in a great way. They've got great weapons all over the field that either used to be Titans or should have been Titans. So, there you go. Number 3, the Eagles. The Eagles, people talk about them like they're got a problem or something. They're 3-0. They're going to be fine. Number 2, the 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers, I've had them at number 1 for the last couple of weeks. But, nothing against them. They're great. But there's just another team that I think deserves the number 1 spot. But the 49ers, one of the teams to beat. Number 1, give me the Miami Dolphins. It still says I have a bad connection.